And again, welcome everybody to our Sea Turtle Fest. Excuse me, we're on our 2020 virtual Sea Turtle Fest, and wish we can get there together in person. However, we decided that this would be the next best opportunity. I'm Mark Birdie. I'm executive director with the Alabama Coastal Foundation. We've done the Turtle Fest last year at the Gulf State Park Pier with the Gulf State Park folks. Cindy Langton, you heard from her earlier this morning on our Facebook page. She is actually not able to join us because they're actually about to launch the renovated pier this week. So we want to make sure to thank them, Gulf State Park at the top end. Coastal Foundation, we're actually have a mission to improve and protect our coastal environment through cooperation, education, and participation. When we say cooperation, that means we work with individuals, with other nonprofit groups. We work with the private sector, small business, big industry, governmental sector, local, state, or federal. Basically, if you have something good to do for our coastal environment, we're going to work with you. We call that inclusive environmental stewardship. That's one of the things that one of my board members came up with a long time ago, and that's pretty much what keeps us going. Our education initiatives are K through 12, and we do those in classrooms when we can go in classrooms and online as well. But we do a lot of adult education as well, wetland compliance workshops, which we have one next month. If you're a realtor or a lawyer needs a continuing education units, you can do that. Have a lot of information on our website. We help to support the Green Drinks, so an informal gatherings of learning happens once a month. And we have really fantastic speakers like Jim Davis and Jim McClintock. Cooperations where we get the awareness, educations where you get the understanding, and then our volunteer piece is what really separates us from a lot of folks. We have a fantastic staff, but 90% of the work gets done because people roll up their sleeves and volunteer. So we appreciate everybody doing that. And speaking of volunteers, the Share the Beach program, which now is housed under the Alabama Coastal Foundation as of 2018, it has about 500 volunteers that really work from the main part of the season, May through October. But then there are people who are on staff. Sarah Johnson, if you can wave there, she's our Share the Beach director. Tony Thomason, who is our, you wave there, she's our coastal relations coordinator. Susan West is our public engagement coordinator. And then we have an administrator who works at our office, which is actually right over the Sanger Theater, downtown Mobile, but we have staff members in both coastal counties. And have really great staff, provide good experiences, and I think that's what kind of separates us from a lot of different groups. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Dr. Elizabeth Bevan, when we put a note out for that this position, a biologist position, was open, we literally received, I think it was 50 applications, some as far from as New Zealand and Israel and other places internationally. And time again, Elizabeth came at the very top part of the interview process. You'll see why in just a couple of minutes. But I'm going to ask the first question for Elizabeth. What gets you most excited about sea turtles, and just kind of how did you get into that? So, and if you put your little screen, everybody needs to put her little screen on who's talking, and then you'll see Elizabeth sharing, and then I'll facilitate the next question. But Dr. Elizabeth Bevan, it's yours.
Yeah, nothing like pressure there, huh? Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for your participation in Turtle Fest 2020, albeit a little strange, but I would argue no less effective. I think we've had some great information already, and thank you for joining us. So the first question, how did I get into turtles? I get this one a lot, and I guess it's not exactly what people were looking for, but turtles were just one of many creatures that I had the privilege of seeing from an early age, because I grew up in South Florida, and swimming, snorkeling, that was just what we did all the time. It was as normal as going to the pool, as going outside. This outside for me meant outside in the water, and it was a whole different world under there, a whole different world that I really wanted to be a part of. And turtles were one of many things that I had the chance to see that really got me excited in being a marine biologist. And if you really want to know the truth, I accidentally ran into a turtle because it was swimming around behind me and I didn't see it in the back of, like, off in my periphery. And as I was swimming around, I turned around because I thought I saw something else, something shiny, and there was a turtle grazing. I was like, ah, and then lots of bubbles came out. Anyways, but that was my first, like, true introduction to turtles, but it was definitely not the last. And turtles were one of just many different activities that all of my schooling, my early schooling, I was homeschooled. All of my schooling centered around a marine theme of some sort. So turtles were one of just many different outdoor marine activities. And so we were very, very involved with our 4-H club, our local 4-H club, and we were very involved with our local sea turtle program that was at that time run by the Sea Grant Extension Service. So we had our turtle ranger, Bill, who took us out and gave us the fun task of digging up lots and lots of really nasty, stinky eggs that weren't viable. There weren't any hatchlings in them. It was just really stinky and really gross and rotted and all kinds of fun stuff. That was a good introduction to this is what turtle life would be. And we got to release a whole bunch of babies. They had turtle releases because back when I was involved with the program down there, they had to move all of the eggs to a hatchery and then they had to release them. And there was a lot of activity on Miami Beach. So they had to make sure that they got off in the wee hours of the morning or late at night. And so that was my first introduction. And I didn't really start to focus on turtles until I was an undergraduate in college. And one of the research experiences that I was privileged to be able to participate in was focused on the diving behavior of sea turtles. And that was over in Western Australia, and it was the best and most life-changing experience ever. So that was when I really started to focus specifically on turtles or marine megafauna. And then after that, it was just grad school worked out to be focused on turtles as well. So it kind of gives you the name of Turtle Girl after that, and it kind of sticks with you.
Fantastic, Elizabeth. Thank you very much for sharing. We do have a question from Pat. How significant is bycatch impact versus the next biggest factor affecting sea turtle populations?
Well, bycatch is one of the biggest influences of or factors of mortality for turtles. Of course, there's other things too, like getting hit by boats and other sources of mortality, but one of the biggest is bycatch and our fishing activities, commercial fishing activities, all kinds of fishing activities, especially anything with a net. It's almost like they're perfectly designed to catch things like turtles. And turtles get caught in them all the time. And in fact, that is one of the main reasons that led to the near extinction of the main species that I studied for my graduate work, the Kemp's Ridley. And because of the decimation of that species and the recognition that something had to be done to address the bycatch issue and the number of turtles that were drowning in fishing nets, the implementation of the turtle excluder devices came about in the late 1980s. And because of that, that's really led to a decrease in the number of turtles that are killed and drowned in fishing nets. And it's critical that they're used and they're used effectively and used appropriately so that turtles have a chance to escape, because they're after the same things that the fishermen are after. They're on the bottom in the same places that many of the fishermen are fishing. So inadvertently, one way or the other, they get caught in these nets, and turtle excluder devices are critical to helping reduce that mortality. And they're constantly working on new designs. So they have a number of different designs depending on what area the fishermen are in, they're fishing in, based on the type of turtle, the species of turtle, the average size of the turtle. There are a number of different turtle excluder devices, because if you think about it, you've got to have a bigger one to let out something like a leatherback or something, a much larger turtle, or a place where there are more adults than there are juveniles. So depending on where the fishermen are located, it's critical that they're also using the right kind of TED. So it's very, very important. Bycatch is one of the biggest killers of turtles out there, but also too are other activities like our boating activities that we see all the time. We get stranded turtles that come in all the time, huge propeller marks or just a busted shell from getting hit by a boat. So there's other things that we do out there that are major sources of mortality for critical stages of turtles, like the adults or the near adults. Because if you think about it, there's only a very small number of those hatchlings that actually makes it to be an adult, right? Because most of the time they're food for something else, or they perish on their way to being an adult. Their survival is pretty low. And as they get older, that individual becomes more and more valuable to the population, especially as an adult. That's one of the breeding individuals. So that means that that's one of the individuals that can continue that species. So they're incredibly important at that older and larger age. So it's really important that we focus on reducing the harmful impacts we have out in the water.
Very good. And I'm sure everybody saw the video that was posted by Tony earlier. NOAA has a fantastic video about TEDs, the turtle excluder devices, that will be up on our website. We give them good credit. And I see Lindsay has joined us as well. So she was one of the people who suggested that. So appreciate that video. I guess it was done last year, but still very relevant for now. Who would like to ask the next question? If you want to put it into the chat, that'll be fine. I'll be happy to read it. Or if you unmute yourself, I will be noted. I'll call you. It'll be like you're raising your hand. Does anybody want to ask the next question?
I just Lou Desmond here from Maglite. I just want to say glad to be here and hello.
Very good, Lou. So I'll ask you a question, Lou. Why are you here, Lou?
Well, you contacted us and you were looking for a light that would not be damaging and harmful to the turtle population, which, by the way, I have some experience with these turtles. I was fortunate enough to be in the Caribbean a couple of times and actually swim with them when I was doing some diving. These are beautiful creatures. We want to see that they are protected and preserved. And they're wonderful, wonderful animals. And we're so glad that you're out here doing the work that you're doing, trying to preserve them. Well, in any case, and I'm sorry, my video is not working with the GoToMeeting technology for some reason this morning, but you can hold it up. That is a light, as you can see. It's a small mag light, one of our mini mag lights, and it's got the Share the Beach logo on there. Looks very nice. And he was demonstrating there, Mark. This is one of our Spectrum series of lights. These are lights that come in many different colors. And this particular red, Mark, you have tested and shown that it doesn't bother the turtles and is safe to use around them, correct?
That is correct. And I actually did not do the testing. My great staff did, but
right.
They did it with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So we know it's all been validated, but yes.
So these are available through your organization, correct?
That is correct, and we're making that go live now. So you buried the lead. So we now have flashlights that are actually appropriate to have on our beaches. So we've been worried about this for years, and now we've just literally struck the partnership with Maglite, and they're very high quality, made. There's a U.S.-based
manufactured in the USA.
Absolutely, and very durable. I think they're drop resistance from 2 meters and water resistant. So it's a great product, and we'll have a code on our website where you can get a 20% discount too, which we appreciate that partnership with Maglite, so Mag Instruments.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it's one of the better looking logos that's come out on one of our. We have lots of partnerships with valuable nonprofits and that do good work. And I've got to say, it's one of the better looking logos. And it's just fantastic that this light just happens to be the right number of lumens, the right shade of red, and people can go out, use them on the beaches and not be a danger to the turtles, which, of course, what we're all trying to avoid.
Absolutely. So Elizabeth, I'm going to put it back to you. Tell what is the Lou, and thank you he's calling from California, so it's a little earlier there. Thank you for being a part of this. But
Absolutely.
Elizabeth, what you're talking about in terms of wavelengths and stuff like that? What is the appropriate for how you don't use of the flashlight, but also the appropriate wavelength and everything?
We're trying to hit that 580, 560, somewhere in that amber range. They call it an amber range. And thank you, Lou. We're very excited to have those flashlights, because above all, they are definitely an improvement over the bright white runway lights that we had this season that were just absolutely astonishing and very disheartening to see. And albeit a lot of that are people that just don't know how disruptive they are, not just to turtles, but to a number of species that use this coastal habitat for foraging, reproduction, just carrying out their very existence. They're trying to exist, and we're out here to have fun and enjoy our vacations. Well, we need to change how we do things, and it's a easy switch to switch to using something like one of these red or amber lights. If you look at sea turtle friendly lights, that's a designation that the Fish and Wildlife Service, or FWC in Florida, gives to lights that meet the certain requirements that they're looking for, and one of which has to be that they need to be in these longer wavelengths. They need to be in that like 560, 580 range. That's really where they're going. And anybody else jump in if you want to add some more stuff, because science is definitely collective effort, and there are so many people on this go-to meeting that have so much more experience and a wealth of knowledge as well. So feel free to jump in.
Anybody?
Anybody
yourself.
want to jump in?
All right, Sarah.
I do want to mention that having the lights is super exciting. I'm so glad that we have something to offer to our visitors, to our volunteers, to everybody who's going to be coming out to enjoy our beaches. I think the biggest thing to remember is that while these are so much better than bright white lights for our turtles and for our eyes included, no visible light is the best thing for sea turtles. So a completely dark beach is the best thing for them. We want to remember to never ever shine a light on a sea turtle, even if it's a red one. We use the red ones for ourselves because we don't have great night vision, so that way we can see where we're going out on the beach. But if we do run into a sea turtle when we're out there, we don't want to use that to light them up. So keeping the lights dim, like these red ones help us do, are going to be what help us create that better environment, while also sharing the beach with our sea turtles.
Great.
A lot of this too, you got to remember how we're using that light. And Sarah, thank you so much, because that is really the critical message, that yes, if you're going to need to use a light on the beach, grab one of these fancy ones that have the little Share the Beach logo on them. You've got a souvenir and you've got something functional, but also remember that it's how you use it on the beach, and getting up in front of a turtle's face or approaching a turtle, which you shouldn't be doing anyways. Watch from afar, and how you use the light can also be disrupting in and of itself. And we're going for the amber wavelengths because that causes less of a behavioral disturbance, that causes less of a visible disturbance that we can see in the turtles, but that by no means says that will under no circumstances influence the turtle or be a disruptive source of activity for the turtle. So keep that in mind.
Fantastic. Good response. We do have a question, Elizabeth, and this is probably for you and maybe for Susan as well. And we've got about 5 more minutes. So if you want to ask a question, either pop it in the chat or I'll we'll unmute you after this one. But has Alabama Coastal Foundation been able to partner with various homeowners associations, rental companies, et cetera, around the Gulf Coast to educate tourists? So why don't you start us off, Elizabeth, and then toss it to Susan, our public engagement coordinator.
Sure. Here's the baton. Susan.
That's a great question. We started last year trying to partner with different condo associations. We're working now to try to partner with some homeowner associations. We've met with various boards to try, and we've got the yard signs that we're selling. Some of them have been donated to our program, so we're taking them to different condos, businesses, public access points. We do feel like education is the best method to get our message out. We also offer these very educational magnets, especially for rental condos and houses. There you go, Mark. It talks about everything that impacts, not just lighting, the holes on the beach, the trash on the beach, the lights, the flashlights. All of it collectively makes a major impact to the nesting turtles. And as Sarah said, and I think maybe Elizabeth as well, that not just turtles, but other creatures that were here first. You know, we have to learn to share our beach with them, or we have to learn for them to understand humans and our nature. But there's just, we're really working to try to work with the different associations. We're also hoping to partner with the different cities and municipalities along the Alabama coastline to improve on the ordinance that might currently exist and develop ordinances where they don't exist. And that's going to be a very critical factor as we move forward with trying to improve the lighting and the issues that occur on our beaches. Great question. Thank you.
Fantastic, Susan. Thank you. And Elizabeth, we do have another question from you from Lindsay. How would you describe the nesting population health in the north of Gulf of Mexico? What is the overall trend? What is your best assessment for that?
Geez, Lindsay, thanks. Overall, when you look at our most reliable records that we have, and we were doing a 5-year look at nesting trends here on our beaches in general. And for us, we have seen an overall increase, but 2016 was definitely our biggest year, but this year has been rather low. It's not the lowest year, but it's been rather low. And so I think a lot of that this year, people have questioned that in particular about our nesting trends because they are so low, and we were anticipating a higher year. So I think that we will eventually bounce back. We've got some oscillation going to the numbers of turtles that we have visiting our beach. And but overall, in general, just in the last 5 years, we have seen a trend upwards. Not drastic trend upwards, but it is a general trend upwards. So we're hoping to see more turtles for next year. This year was definitely hindered by a lot of exceptional activity on the beach this year, exceptionally disturbing activity. So in general, the health of the sea turtle population, we've only got nesting numbers right now. It would be fabulous to have some other studies looking at some of the strange anomalies that we see in our nests, some of the other aspects that we use to monitor sea turtle population health. In terms of our clutch size and some of the other basic metrics that are like the bread and butter for sea turtle programs, our basic metrics haven't wavered. They've been pretty much steady, and there's no change in those. So for all intents and purposes, we have not increased or decreased in those metrics, but we seem to be pretty healthy on those other aspects. But it would be fascinating to do a study on like the proportion of strange abnormalities we have in our hatchlings, or like any of those other unique aspects of a population that for some bigger populations we know more about, and we don't really have a whole lot of that here.
Great. Again, Lindsay, thank you for that question. Anybody have a final question before, because I will let Elizabeth say, just in terms of what people can do in general, like there are a multitude of things. So just right off the top of your head, just, you know, we'll use the remaining part of the time if there's nobody else who wants to do a question. Okay. So what are all the different ways that you can think of right now? And then you can tell our web address as well, so that people can learn and go do as well. So.
Well, everybody that's on this particular meeting, I've already, that's the first thing that I would thank you and just encourage more of, is your interest and your desire to find out more. And the next thing I would say is spread that to other people. And above all, have respect for where you come to play. Either you live here, you come to visit here, you work here, in one way or the other, this is home for more than just us, and have respect for it. So yeah, it all goes back to just taking care of our environment. It's just basic stewardship across the board. Fill in the holes. Don't destroy things. Don't leave your garbage. Pick up after yourself. These are things our parents have been telling us since we were very young, old enough to understand what it meant to clean up our room, right? So why would we not do that as adults when we come to other places? And just have respect for the fact that there are lots of things out there that we don't know, but in order to find out about it, we can't just trample over it. We need to respect it. So I would encourage everyone to keep up the good work, keep up the word, tell people about this. Oddly enough, for this year, even though we weren't able to meet in person, now we have all these fantastic pieces of Turtle Fest that are available for everybody to come and witness and watch and learn more about. So share this video, share. That's what I would say.
And again, I appreciate you for being a part of this time, and I appreciate everybody for sharing their time on a Saturday morning. One of the questions that did pop up, yes, this will be posted on our website, joinacf.org, joinacf.org. Whenever the sharethebeach.com is open up again, it'll be on there, as well as the Gulf State Parks website as well. But thank you, Dr. Elizabeth Bevan, for being a part of this. That's our web address, or excuse me, our real address and our web address right there. If you have any questions whatsoever, please send us an email. You can make a phone call. Tony, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, we just had a quick comment from Emily Lamb. She's a teacher in Illinois, and I just want to let her know that we do have a bunch of resources for teachers. I did just post one of them on our Facebook page, but the World Wildlife Fund has a toolkit actually specifically for teachers and how to teach about sea turtle conservation. The link for that is on our Facebook, and I can post it here if you need that.
Exactly, and it'll be on our real website. I'll make a commitment in the next hour. I was halfway through with the Share the Beach website when it did not work anymore, so it will be on joinacf.org, and you can purchase your flashlight, your Share the Beach flashlight, and help educate people about, when they see the logos, like, oh, what is that? So you can help educate people. Really is the biggest thing. So thank you all for your time. Thank you again, Dr. Bevan, for being with us. Thank you all my staff for making this possible. And y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, guys.